All right, working on the Circle Track car a little more today. I did go ahead and get the rear end in the car, so quick change is back in. We did get a set of quick change gears. I'm still waiting on the right ratio to come in, but I got a set just to install and make sure everything was correct as far as our clearances and back, basically input and output of the gear. Everything's good there, so rear end is in. I've got an idea of what we're going to do with the rear suspension. I think I'm going to go ahead and put the screw jacks in the back of it, but just kind of started looking at all that and mapping that out. Did a little bit of cleaning up, a little bit of paint work underneath here, just trying to get everything in pretty good shape before we put the engine in, the transmission in, and everything gets cluttered. So I'm kind of taking my time with just kind of cleaning things up, making sure it looks pretty good. Like I said in another video, when it looks good, you tend to take care of it better. So I went through that transmission like I showed you guys, cleaned it up, painted it, new seals, new bushing. Just did all the seals and gaskets, make sure we don't have any leaks there. I'm gonna do the same thing with the engine, put the cylinder heads on it, go through that, but basically engine's gonna be freshened up, rebuilt, gone through, rear end's all rebuilt, freshened up, gone through, transmission's freshened up, gone through, new seals and gaskets. So just really just going through all the systems. Yesterday, I put the right spacers on the front calipers, got the tabs put on the pads. So I had new pads all the way around, but it was missing a tab, so I went ahead and welded the tabs on all the pads. So front and rear brakes are all good to go. Did the same thing with the rear, got the correct spacers on them. I went ahead and bled the front brakes out, got all the new brake fluid in it, all the old brake fluid out. I've got to do the same with the rear there. So really the front brakes are pretty much done. The rear brakes, I just got to clean the bleeders and bleed them out and flush that old fluid out. But today what we're working on is, we got some shocks there. So that's a small body shock, and then that's a large body. This one's like 2-inch 50 thousandths, and that one's like 1-inch 600 thousandths. But what I've got to do is, with this coilover eliminator, I need to fit a shock right here on the inside of this upper A-frame or control arm. So that's what we're working on, is we've either got to have upper control arms made that we can fit the shock and the coilover eliminator in, or we've got to possibly make something. Well, that's what we just did here, is I cut off the old tube, kind of had this all set up for everything would stay in place. I made this new bar here, and the old one would cut an arch here. Well, all this is in the way. So by making this inside diameter larger, we can fit a shock right here. So the paint's just drying on that right now. The old tube, actually I'll show you guys, this is a good comparison. Here's the old tube that I cut out. You can see the difference there, is this bar would come right through right there. Well, all that is extra clearance now. So we're way out here now. So that should give me the space I need to have the shock about right here, the coilover eliminator right there. That's the idea. I test fitted it and it looks like it's going to work out perfect, but until the paint dries there, I'm not going to be able to get it back on this moment. But that is just ideal. I could have, I'll show you on the other side here. I could have mounted it on the outside, which I've seen people do, and it will work. It's just not the best. Is what I could have done is mount the shock, say right here, and gone down to this lower bar right there and just mounted it on the outside. But it doesn't control it as well, and you're going to have to change this bar because it's aluminum. You're going to want to change that to steel. Well, the easier method is just to take this, make it go out like this, come in, make an arch, and come in. That way your shock can go right here. This side's going to be a little bit trickier just because of the way the spacing is set up, and this is just sitting loose because all the weight's off the chassis. But I'm thinking I can still make it work. It's just come out here, go like this, and arch in, and this will actually be more over here, so our shock will live right at that space where this tube is right now. That's the theory. It definitely looks like it's going to work on that side, and I'll make another video and show you guys once the paint's all dry and I can get it on there. But a little trickier on this side, but like I said, just cleaning up, painting up. I want to make sure when the engine goes in, it's ready to go in. And like I said, I just want it to look good. It's going to be a race car, it's going to get beat up, but the nicer you start with, the nicer you finish with. So the more time we take just to make it that much better now, it'll show when it's all done. But it is not a show car. That doesn't matter at all. I just like my stuff to look decent. The old car was always pretty beat up, so this thing's much nicer starting with. So we're just taking our time and making it look good. But my goal, which is a pretty hefty goal, is to have this thing out for testing in about a month. It's going to be a lot of work, and I'm working on it every day, every spare minute I have. For the last, well, man, the last 2 weeks I've worked on it every single day, so we're getting it. That rear end definitely took a lot of time though. That slowed us down big time, but brakes are pretty decent. We've gone through those. We're just working on the suspension. We'll start to hang the body next. It's pretty loose right now, so I want to get that placed where it's going to go and start getting all the braces on it. That way we don't crack any panels leaning on the car or anything like that. But just a quick update for you guys. Just want to let you know where we're at with this thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you like this project. Keep it saucy.